Pasig, bakit po kaya ganun nalang kabilis ang pananakop ng bansang China sa mga teritoryo natin? Hindi po kaya naibenta na ng palihim ng nakaraan o kasalukuyang administrasyon ng mga islang ito? Kasi po halos walang magawa ang ating gobyerno para ipaglaban ito. Hindi naman siguro ganoon. Mula kay Major Santiago ng Manila, marami nang naipakita ang ating gobyerno na nagpapatunay ng ating bansang Pilipinas ay siyang nagmamay-ari ng West Philippine Sea. Bakit ang bilis ng China upang maglagay ng mga barko sa ating isla? Anong aksyon ang ginagawa ng ating gobyerno? Congressman Golez po.
Sagutin ko lang yung una, yung pangamba na baka masyado tayo maliit, hindi natin makaya. Totoo yan kung magkatapat China at Pilipinas. Pero hindi ganun kasimple ang international relations. Parating nagkakaroon ng mga alliances, no? Pag merong isang lumalaki at nagiging bully, nagtitrigger ng alliances. And if you look at the history of warfare, even during the time of Napoleon, dominant power, pero nagkaroon ng all kinds of coalitions that finally ended the power of Napoleon. Dito, hindi tayo nag-iisa kasi common ground sa pinag-usapan dito, global commons. Everybody's interested. Nobody wants to yield the South China Sea to a hegemon, no? To a power like China. At pagdating sa militarization, nakikita mo, yung sa kasabihan nga, for every action, there is counter-action. Anong ginagawa ang Australia, halimbawa? Now, they're buying about 50 billion Australian dollars worth of submarines. It's about $35 billion. Malaking investment yan to counter China using submarines. Ang Japan has a record budget this year, $42 billion for their military, and they announced that tataasan pa nila yung kanilang budget dahil sila ang medyo naiipit ng gusto. India is already constructing their third aircraft carrier. Vietnam bought 6 kilo class submarines, 2 or 3 have already been delivered. Tayo, meron tayong konti. Dalawa na tayong bagong fighter jets, no? 10 pang darating. Dalawang frigate. Sana napabilis yan. Ang US does not need to really increase their military budget. All they have to do is redeploy. Pwede yung isang aircraft carrier sa Mediterranean, ilipat nila. O kaya yung, I understand, yung third fleet na nakabase sa West Coast, pwedeng ilipat to tandem with the 7th Fleet dito sa bandang West Pacific para lumakas. Meron silang isang bagong super destroyer. Ito yung Zoom 1. Stealth ship, high-tech, and sabi nila, a one-man wrecking crew. So, you know, the aggressiveness of China is triggering a coalition and alliance against itself. Tayo, okay, nabanggit ni General yung asymmetric. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, parang David and Goliath. Si David, ang laki ng espada niya. Si Goliath ang ginamit ng tirador. And he killed...
Si David ang gumamit ng
tirador. Si David ang gumamit ng tirador. Goliath, espada. Merong libro, David and Goliath, by Malcolm Gladwell. Siya yung author ng The Tipping Point. Sabi niya, doon sa bagong libro niya, military people conducted a study of past wars involving countries that are 10 times bigger than yung adversary country. Naglaban yung 10 times bigger na country with a small country. And in all instances, na gumamit ng asymmetric warfare ang small country, the smaller country won 60% of the time. 60% of the time. And that is being demonstrated. Ano ba? Iran. Ang Iran sa Persian Gulf. Kahit na may mga aircraft carrier ang sa may bandang Mediterranean, sa may bandang Indian Ocean, ang US Navy, meron silang ginagamit na asymmetric warfare, mga fast missile boats para hindi makalapit yung mga powerful ships ng Amerika doon sa loob ng Persian Gulf and warn them off. We can do the same thing because marami pang usapin yan. But sabihin, it's not that hopeless, but the big thing is that marami tayong kakampi. At maraming kalaban ang China. In fact, kung titignan mo ang sitwasyon dito, parang walang kakampi ang China. Yung kakampi nilang dalawa, landlocked yun eh. Laos at Cambodia, walang magagawa sa South China.
North Korea.
North Korea is the other, no, yun. Pero North Korea is busy with South Korea. Marami rin silang problema. Right now, they're sanctioning North Korea. China signed the resolution sanctioning North Korea dahil sa kanilang mga militarization doon. Plus, marami tayong, yung EDCA is another thing. EDCA will help the United States push back. Pag ma-activate na yung mga rotational bases, it will help the United States push back. Although what China is doing, nagka-counter sila. Nabanggit nyo, naglagay sila ng radar sa, nabanggit sa balita kanina, quarter on reef. Malayo sa atin yan, that's about 350 nautical miles away, outside our economic zone. Pero, makukover niyan yung buong Pilipinas, makikita yung aeroplano, mga vapor doon, at posible, ang tinatarget nila, just in case mag-deploy ng Amerika ng mga aeroplano at vapor. Pero sabi ng mga Amerika, we can also neutralize that radar using electronic countermeasures. So, ganun ang labanan dito, pagandahan ng technology.
Sa madali pong salita, kahit na tayo maliit compared sa giant China, dahil sa mga odd possibilities of various alliances,
Maraming kakampi.
maraming kakampi. Kaya hindi dapat maghari ang hopelessness and sadness sa puso ng mga Pilipino. Alam nyo, ang lahing Pilipino naman dakilang lahi. Kaya hindi dapat na sanay naman tayo, kahit dihado tayo, basta nasa tama
Sabi ng national anthem natin, di ka pasisiil.
Secretary Almonte, meron lang akong ihahabol na katanungan kasi nakapending pa yung decision sa United Nations Permanent Tribunal tungkol sa issue nito. Pero merong ilang mga presidential policy at ang nabasa ko sa dyaryo na ang gusto magkaroon na ng bilateral negotiations ang Philippine government sa China. Ito po ba nararapat even before the so-called much-awaited decision ng United Nations?
Brother Eddie, I think the best coordination is for our presidential candidates to clearly state their position on the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea, so that the nation can judge exactly what they will do. Now, in relation to your question, my sense is this, that after this has been brought to the UN Permanent Court of Arbitration, and after EDCA has been confirmed by the Supreme Court, these two factors created a new situation, which more or less limit the space for flexibility of any future president. They'll have to look at that. Otherwise, the nation and the world will see through to who they are. But I think to their credit, my sense is this, to their credit, I think that whoever is elected will follow these established policies that had been in place before them. And I think one of them, like the one in the UN court, permanent court, is still in progress, a work in progress. So we do not know, but I think the most important, Brother Eddie, and I think the nation should ask them, they should tell the nation exactly what is their policy in the West Philippine Sea. Now, about talking to China bilateral, this government has not been lacking in talking to China. Actually, the government was compelled to bring this to the UN Court of Arbitration after the Chinese, the US brokered a deal in the Scarborough Shoal for both China and the Philippines to mutually leave the area. The Philippines left, China stayed there, and the broker did not do anything, which, you have to understand this in the context of the larger situation, rather than blaming the United States or what. But you have to understand this in the context of a larger consideration. And that is, I think, what will more or less happen after. So, but I think I'll repeat that as us, our presidential candidates, to clearly state their policy, their position on the West Philippine Sea, so that we can judge more or less what they will be as president relative to China.
Medyo nakapagtataka ako kasi na despite of the seriousness of this international problem ng ating bansa vis-a-vis China, hindi ko yata narinig ang preparedness ng mga presidensiables in confronting the possible consequences dito ho sa problemang ito. Kaya tingin ko they should humble themselves to be educated by both of you, no? Tungkol sa ganitong issue.
Meron naman dalawa, hindi ko mabanggit yung pangalan. Yung isa, klaro sa kanyang statement, sabi niya, the West Philippine Sea is ours, sa kailangan natin palakasin ang Philippine Coast Guard at ang Armed Forces, lalo na yung Navy at yung Air Force. Yung isa naman, will just continue the existing policy. So, pero may isa nagsabi bilateral, ayun, talagang no-no ang bilateral. Kasi sa bilateral, ang gusto ng China, unless they change this, accept muna natin yung sovereignty. Tapos pagkatian natin yung tinuturing na kanila at ipaparte sa atin. I was a personal witness to that. Nung state visit si President Roilo sa Beijing 2002, gusto namin pag-usapan yun. Ando si President Jiang Zemin. Pero sabi niya, no, that is not the time. Let's find a better time. Parating ganun ang laro nila. Postpone. Pero pinapalakas nila yung paghawak nila sa mga area natin, pinapasok nila yung lugar natin. So talagang useless yung bilateral. We cannot trust their word. They reneged on their promise sa Misty Creek, also sa Scarborough Shoal.
So pinakamahalaga ko ay hintayin natin ang decision ng United Nations Permanent Tribunal or Arbitration Court at mag-prepare ang ating pamahalaan sa anumang possibilities na maaaring mangyari. Pwede po bang ibigay niyo ngayon ang closing remarks? At medyo kinapos na po tayo ng panahon. Congressman Golez, tungkol po rito sa issue ito, ano po yung masasabi sa ating mamamayan as a former National Security Secretary ng Republika ng Pilipinas?
Opo, ito pong West Philippine Sea, yung kabuuan South China Sea, mas palaki natin West Pacific area, Indo-Pacific area, ay isang malaking banta para sa Pilipinas. Ito ay dapat ma-manage na maayos. Napakagulo nito. Ang darating ng Kongreso, ang darating ng Presidente, ay magiging napaka-importante sa pagtalakay ng issue na ito. Kahit naswertihin tayo na manalo tayo dito sa arbitral tribunal ruling, marami pang gagawin. Marami pang komplikasyon. Pero dapat ang Pilipino ay magsalita ng magkaisa rito. Huwag natin kalimutan yung inagaw nilang Misty Creek noong 1995. Huwag natin kalimutan yung inagaw nilang Scarborough Shoal noong 2012. Ipaglaban natin ang West Philippine Sea.
At lately, itong Quirino Island sa Palawan.
Paglaban yan, kasama na. Pag sinabing West Philippine Sea, kasama na lahat yan.
Salamat po, Congressman Roilo Golez. At General Rosel Monte, please, closing.
Well, may I just say this. The West Philippine Sea, South China Sea is very important. In the sense that that is not our only exclusive economic zone. The Philippines is an archipelago. And we have exclusive economic zone in the east. And the resources in the east, in East Philippine Sea, in terms of value, is really nothing compared. The South China Sea resources cannot compare to the South Philippine Sea. Just in the Philippine Deep, given the problem today of climate change, which needs